Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Todd Novak, the Guitar Knobs.
You dirty...
Jared Brandon Wampus.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Hey, everybody, this is Todd Novak. We are super happy that you are with us on this beautiful show. I don't know if it's beautiful. It's not really beautiful. It's a beautiful day, and we're doing a show, so I guess that counts.
Hey, we're beautiful people.
Everybody's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. So welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast, where we do what?
We talk about gear and noise and nonsense, and we interview cool people doing cool things.
Perfect. Specifically...
ice cream cones?
Okay, you're a lot of fun today. Specifically, we are talking to boutique builders of guitars, pedals, amps, and other gear.
Oh, yeah, those people too.
Thanks.
Like he said.
So if you are joining us for the first time, that's what this show is about. And I know that we have a lot of first-time visitors because I've been monitoring the action on the social networks and on Spotify. Our Spotify numbers are getting really big. So if you haven't checked us out on Spotify, do that. Get out there. Check it out. Search for us. We're there. Speaking of awesome builders of awesome things, we've got somebody very special on the line.
Hey, this is Seb from Ground Control Audio in Montreal, Canada.
And this is Sam from Montreal as well, Canada.
And I'm assuming you're also from Ground Control Audio, Sam.
Yeah.
Some guy they just got brought in off the street.
He's the pizza guy.
Why not, right?
Yeah. Well, we are awful happy to have you
illustrators.
here. Yeah, he does. Sam does the illustrations that we've all seen on these pedals.
Cool,
Beautiful.
HE double toothpicks.
Yep, you bet. Oh man, this is gonna be such a good show. I just want you to know, like, I've actually gotten quite a few requests for Ground Control. Listen, everybody out there, I want you to know that it was a year, maybe over a year ago, when I did reach out to try to get this going.
Was it?
Oh yeah, right after we had Florian from Millimetric on, he's like, "You have to get Seb on."
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's pretty good, Florian, right?
Yeah.
Hello to Florian from Millimetric. Everybody, check out Millimetric Instruments. Awesome guitars, and check out our podcast with Millimetric a ways back. But yes, we were trying to get you on for quite some time. You had a lot of pedal building going on, and there seemed to be always something new that you were about to release, but we've got you here, and we're not going to let you go.
At some point, you're going to have to, but right now I'm here.
You had me at pedals.
Yeah, you did. I also want to mention, Jared, what's on the table here? What do we got here?
Well, we have some gorgeous pedals.
Yes, sir. We have in front of us
we have the Serpent, we have the Blood Oath, the Locust, and the, I don't know how to pronounce that. The Amaterasu.
I love the Amaterasu.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
I like that.
We're going to get into all of this stuff coming up soon. But for right now, we're really light on the news, so I'm going to skip it all together. How about that? No, I'm just going to say we did get some rad buttons in. They're rad little lapel buttons for your punk rock battle jacket. So we're going to have those out at the live events, I think, mostly.
Okay.
Because that costs an awful lot to just retro mail to everybody.
Maybe we can give those for the $50
I did that
patrons.
before for the barefoot button, and it damn near broke us. So, yeah, that's gonna go forward on the patrons and all that stuff.
Yeah, I had a little knob news, not really news, but I just wanted to thank David, a new listener, for the great conversation we had through messaging. Actually, he messaged us. Messages. We talked about shipping woes and how, pedals we got lost and things like that. But
right.
I just wanted to say thank you, David. And guys, send us messages and get on the social media and talk with us. We answer back. We enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure we do. It's really great to hear from you all.
Hey, you know what?
Yes.
I was contacted by a gentleman from Rode Microphones.
You were?
I was. He needs a pickguard project. I guess he's
No kidding.
He's based on. I said, hey, we use your fantastic Procaster microphones.
You mean everybody at Rode Microphones doesn't listen to our show?
Well,
All the
apparently,
employees?
I thought it was mandatory, but I
It
guess
should be.
I guess it's not. But anyhow,
Bathroom music.
so he is passing our information on, and we said we'd love to have them visit us.
Absolutely. Yep, you bet. Maybe that'll happen. It'd be great.
Yeah.
They make good stuff. Rode, thank you for the microphone setups, for doing our awesome podcast.
I particularly like the articulating arm.
You do like the articulating arm. All right, everybody. We've got a lot to talk about today, and I know a lot's been going on in our music world. I'm going to lead off with Big Tony Baloney here. And
Got nothing.
That was my line.
Tony, what's going on?
Hey, well, last time we talked a little bit, I'm putting together the Tele, with like a 72 Tele Custom style
Yeah.
from a body that
I saw that today, and like I was like I started reaching in my pocket to get my wallet. Like, it is that awesome.
It's as far as it's going to get for right now. I have a neck on order, so this is going to be a maple neck, a one-piece maple neck with black block inlays.
Definitely great.
So that is on order from, I guess I can say the name, Musicraft
Yeah, sure.
in New Jersey. They make fine necks.
Yep.
And so it'll be a couple of weeks before that comes in. So I shan't talk about the guitar.
Oh, man.
But I would like to say I put a pair of Jared's pickups in.
Woo!
And this is a wide range humbucker in the neck,
Yep.
which is, I think, one of his best pickups,
Absolutely.
Thank you.
if not the best, one of. And something new that he put together for me to test out in the bridge position, which is a standard Tele pickup. Mm-hmm. But apparently it is a double coil. Maybe you can explain what that Tele pickup is.
Yeah, so there are two coils. It looks like a single coil, like a traditional Telecaster pickup when you look at it. But if you took the center of the pickup and cut it in half, so you have 3 poles on each side, then each of those 3 poles, there's a coil wound around each of the 3 magnets.
Oh,
so you
cool.
have two coils side by side. Mm-hmm. And I'm not the only guy who does this, but I actually had the flatware cut for this 2 or 3 years ago, and I had some time, and I thought, I think Tony would appreciate one of these.
So it's a hum canceling bridge pickup.
Yep.
Oh.
Which leads me to 3 poles walk into a bar.
I was trying to think of Tony can say that because he's Polish.
That's right.
Yeah.
Purebred.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
2 groups of 3.
I want to hear from Sam. What's going on in your music world this week?
Good question.
Been writing?
Yeah, I've been doing a little writing for our myself and Seb have started a new band. I figured since we do so much pedal work together, may as well test it out somehow.
Right on.
Sweet.
So I've been just writing some tunes, and yeah, that's it.
What kind of music is it going to be?
Man, the question.
I want to say happy emo with
Okay.
a twinge of mathy guitar.
Awesome.
You know,
Okay,
a
so lots
little- a
of
little
effects.
punky.
That's what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
Oh, no
exactly.
effects.
Barely any.
Right.
No effects. Straight cable into amp into guitar.
Yeah, that's like emo. That's like a new kind of emo. Somebody make up a new genre for that. No effects emo.
No effects emo.
Yeah. Okay, and
Exactly.
while you're on the line, Seb, how about what's going on in your music world?
I wish I had a lot of stuff going on, but actually I've been putting off so many things for like so many months. Like I'm sort of in a habit of putting things off, as you know.
Yes, I do know.
But yeah, like I have like this Strat that needs probably the neck straightened on and new strings for one, and I have
Wait, a Strat?
yeah.
I think you just need a new
Just sell
guitar.
it and get a Tele.
Yeah, probably. But I bought it. It was so cheap and it plays so well.
Uh-huh.
And then I have this thin line Telecaster that it spent like months in a dry room, so like it's like the neck atrophy a little bit. So I think that needs a little bit of fret work.
Oh,
because like
Try getting a little moisture into it. You know, it usually, I mean, it works better on acoustic guitars, but like if you put a case humidifier and close the case, keep some moisture in there, that might
with a couple of Cubans, cigars.
So you don't mean just soaking it in water or bringing it in the shower?
Don't soak it in water.
Okay.
You could try that, but I wouldn't recommend that.
I'd take a bath with my guitar. So yeah, I have that, and I have another Telecaster that I wanted to like. The neck pickup only works in the summer. It doesn't work in winter.
Right.
I have
it's seasonal.
no explanation at all. Anyways, I have like lots of guitar stuff to have done or to do, and have been putting it off for so long. And I let Sam do all the writing for the band, so I'm barely having anything to do with that. So that's pretty much it. Besides that, it's just like building.
What's the repair shop / luthier availability up in Montreal? I would imagine there would be quite a few of them.
Well, Florian does most of the things
Florian?
that I need.
Hey,
Florian!
Yeah, I mean, we're good friends, so he does this like for me.
I'm gonna put
when
a
I
little,
need it.
like accordion music right there.
I hope he writes me a check or something. No, but I know there's a lot of luthier like around Montreal. Like we have this. Well, Florian again is organizing with other people this guitar show like
Sonar.
in September. Sonar, yeah. Like last year was the first year, and this year the second year we're going to be there.
Man, I wish.
And there's like so many guitar building people and luthiers. It's crazy.
Wow.
So yeah, most of them I don't know though, because a lot of them are into like more acoustic and classic stuff. There's a couple of electric guitar makers there also. So I know there's a lot of them, but I don't know a lot of them like personally.
Well, it sounds like you need to.
Probably.
Yeah, need to get
like last year I was too busy like tending my boots, so I didn't really have time to walk around and meet up with people.
Right.
I'll see what I can do this year.
I get you. Let's see here. Jared?
Well, a continuation from the last podcast about the mysterious thing that I had happening. I was talking about the guitar, and that I was really jonesing to buy, and I did put some money down, and I actually sold other things to fund this other guitar, and I was successful in doing that.
Did you sell some pickups?
I sold some pickups, but I mostly used the sales from guitars and just equipment and things that I just had laying around for years that have pretty good value that sold quick.
Yeah.
And was able to fund this guitar, and it's a guitar that I've been wanting to own for a very long time. It's kind of been on my bucket list, and that guitar being a 1970 Gibson Les Paul Custom, and it's in really good shape, and it is aged beautifully, and it has not been messed with.
That's like black, right?
It's black.
It's a 2 pickup, not the 3
It's
pickup.
a 2 pickup. It's exactly what my father had, and
Old
that's
hardware.
That's why I wanted it.
What do you mean your father had? Like he sold it?
My father had one, and he sold it in 1973, and he bought the acoustic guitar that I have now.
Right.
But
It's not the same guitar, just for clarification.
yeah, that's
It
not.
might be.
It could be, but I highly doubt it. But anyway, it's the one that he had. Guitars from the late 60s and early 70s of Gibson, that was a big transitional period for a lot of their models. So it's a great version of a Les Paul.
The Les Paul was really reintroduced in like 1968.
It was
After they stopped making them, and 60 I guess was the last year that they actually made them.
yeah.
So a lot of the
So
ones
if
from
someone
that
says
early
they have
era.
a 65 Les Paul,
It's an
tell you.
and
SG.
it's not a Les Paul.
And it's not a Les Paul at that point. But yeah, that's pretty cool. But a lot of those, late 60s, early 70s, a lot of the parts and the tooling and everything
from the
are
50s.
it potentially could be.
That's cool. That's excellent.
So I finally got this thing, and I wanted to thank Dan Shin from Lazy Guitars for
We got to get them on.
absolutely for letting me know about that guitar. I asked him years upon years ago, hey, if you ever get one of these guitars, and let me know, I'll check it out. So that's, I think that completed my quest and bucket list for guitars.
Wow. You need a new bucket list, dude.
Start over.
I'm 40, so I don't know. I think I'm just going to enjoy what I have. But what is going on in your week, Todd?
Thanks, Jared. Man, I was like, I could hardly even contain myself. I picked up a new amp. I was looking for something new because everybody has heard me complain about. It's a great sounding amp, the Fender Blues Deluxe, but I mean, it sounded really good, but I can't go from 0 to 100 with one tick of the knob. I just can't do it.
That's what they do.
And so I was looking for something around 20 to 25 watts tube with some nice mid, and pretty much nailed it. I did a trade with a really good dude here, and who's also a fan of the show. I won't say his name so that protect the innocent. But he was looking to move his Supro Black Magic T, and it was in mighty fine condition.
Nice.
So we did did some trading and some money shaking, and mostly my money was shaking. And I brought it home, and I really love it. And so I'm super excited. It's
this week.
Great amp. Yeah. If anybody knows, for long-time listeners, Todd is a fickle one. And I might have had it at home in, 5 minutes? And I hit Tony and I said, I want to make the grill gold instead of silver.
Oh, boy.
Can't live well enough alone.
I know, but it looks so cool.
Well, it would match all 5 of your guitars if
I
it
know.
did.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Nice.
But what's really neat, actually, the best feature about this amp that I bet few people know is that when you turn the lights off at home and you're walking around in the dark, you can still see it. That grill is amazing.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. But it's a great sounding amp. I'm really thrilled with it. The only problem is now I'm having to like basically re-engineer all my pedals to my guitars through that amp, and it's kind of a weird amp because it's got 2 inputs. The first input controls input 1 and 2, and in parallel, and the second input is just input 2. So it almost sounds like you have they are 2 independent channels, and you're just mixing them. There's no metaphor there. That's really what it's doing.
So basically, you plug into channel 1, you're in both channels,
right?
Or you can plug into channel 2, which disconnects from channel 1,
right? And what it does, it just gives it a fuller. It like doubles up. It feels like it gives it a little bit of a bass boost, just a touch. It makes it more rounder. And a little fuller.
That's why with a 4-input amp, if you run a jumper across, you get
and on the high end as well, and on the high end as well.
Yeah.
So it just kind of adds a little mojo, a little sparkle to it, which is
Could it be
pretty
just
nice.
a different preamp?
I'm not sure.
I think they're two distinct preamps.
They must be, because otherwise I don't know why they'd even bother doing that. But that's a good question, and I haven't been able to find any information out on that yet. So if you know, shoot me a note and let me know. That includes you, Supro, and I have a invitation out to them, and they have not responded yet. They're busy making cool stuff. But anyways, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the floor. Okay, dude, or you decide how you're going to do this. From Ground Control Audio, what is your 4 on the floor?
Oh, that one wasn't easy. Like I said earlier, like we have this new band, Sam and I, we don't really use that many pedals. So like this morning, I went through I have this crate where I keep like most of my pedals, and I was like, all right, so what am I going to talk about? So I ended up like picking a couple that I really like and that are maybe useful to me, like from a company standpoint, maybe. So yeah, let me start with the MXR carbon copy, like their analog delay. I've had this one like for years. It's actually my second one because the first one I had like broke down and I couldn't fix it. So like this is seriously like I've had like a lot of delay pedals in the past, and this one is like easily my favorite one. Like it's small and it sounds really good, and it's really straightforward to use. And yeah, I think basically like everyone should have one on their board. Like it's also affordable like compared to a lot of other delay pedals.
I agree. I've used the carbon copy, and I think it is. I mean, it's a simple to use pedal. It doesn't take up a lot of board space, and it's an old analog delay.
Yeah, I think that there's a time and a place for like super mega complex stuff. And sometimes you just want, like, I just need it to do the thing, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, it sounds really warm, and it's just so easy to use.
Perfect.
So,
What's number 2?
Yeah. This one it's the TC Electronics Ditto. Like I have a version 2. Like they have like 3 versions now, I think.
Right.
And I really wish I had version 1. Like version 2 is a little bit bigger, and it has like other functions like reverse and slow down. Oh, for those who don't know, I think I should mention that it's a looping pedal.
Right.
But yeah, so personally, I don't really need like the reverse and slow down feature. So I would like I'd be down to trade it for a V1 straight up. So yeah, I think that it's good for layering stuff when you're writing new music, when you're by yourself and you don't have another person playing guitar. Mm-hmm. So, and I remember like I still do it like once in a while, but like spending hours and hours just sitting there and looping and playing with like a bunch of other pedals and getting lost in whatever comes.
It's a great way to sort out a good lead too. Like if you're trying to just figure out like a specific part that just needs a little extra something.
That's true.
Yeah. Also very good for pedal shows. You know?
Yeah, that's true. And I know that a lot of also demo guys use these loopers.
Yeah.
So that they can have their track playing over and over again. And you can play with the knobs and stuff.
Yeah. The knobs on the pedals. So we.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got myself into that
one. What do you have for number 3?
This one, I use it for guitar shows. It's the Nudeber Iconoclast. Like, I remember, like, last year when I've only done, like, two guitar shows so far. Like, last year, like, last September, I did Sonar. And then, like, in May, I think, I did the Stompbox exhibit right here in Montreal. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have anything so that people could just come up to my booth and listen and play around with guitar. And so I started looking around, and I looked into speaker stems, and then a lot of those were like more expensive and bigger and more complicated, but I really wanted something like in a super small format that I could bring with me. And then Nudeber just were coming out with the Iconoclast. I think they unveiled it in, was it Summer NAMM? Like 2 years ago? Or a year ago? I don't quite remember. Anyways, so yeah, I just bought it, and it's super easy to use. Like you don't get to select like, oh, I want to sound like this cab and this cab. You just have like three like tone knobs, but like each knob also has like another way to describe its functions. Like the bass one is like the size of the cabinet. Like look on the lowest setting, it's like a 112 or 110, I think, and then the more bass you give it, like the bigger the cabinet and stuff like that. So I think it's really useful, and with a good pair of headphones, it sounds really, really good.
Awesome. That's smart.
And for my fourth one, actually, I wanted to talk about like one thing that I really like doing since I've started building pedals is like trade pedals with other builders. And like there's Amish from Southampton pedals, which were on your show. Who was on your show like a couple episodes ago? And I've been doing a couple of trades with him, and lately I've been playing around with one of his overdrives, the 5th gear. It sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty.
That's a fun one too. The yellow with the car on it.
Yeah, I think that. I don't want to spoil anything, but I think that he's coming up with a second version of that one. But I think he's unveiled it already.
I think that's a great idea. If I hadn't heard that, and he makes some really solid stuff.
Yeah, he does, and he's going to be in Sonar also, like in September.
Wow, I'm really wanting to go up there, but there's a lot going on around that time. So, we'll see what we can do. That is a solid list, my man. Well done.
Thank you. That was a lot of pressure, actually.
Well, we find that pedal builders do have the most pressure in doing that. Oddly enough, like it's funny because you said, "Well, we don't really do a lot of pedals." I was like, "Says the pedal builder." You know?
No, but I mean, like I feel like we're so busy like building them and coming up with them. Like we don't spend as much time as maybe we should, like playing
around with them,
other pedals.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, let's. Speaking of other pedals, we've got your pedals right here. And,
that's right.
I'm really excited to finally be able to talk about them. We've when I first sent out notice to you, I think Blood Oath was really the main one out. And you had you were just about to introduce the Amaterasu, and then you came out with the Serpens, and it's just kind of escalated from there. So I've just been watching from afar, like, hey, he'll come on someday.
Yeah, one day. It was my fault mostly.
I was really beginning to think you really truly didn't like us, and I was sad.
No, not the us, just you.
Oh, just me. Okay.
Just you, yeah, but nothing like that. Nothing like that.
I can buy that. So, for those of you listening who are not familiar with ground control audio, if you can get to your phone or a computer and give a look-see so you can understand what we're talking about. And if you can't do that, then just hang on tight and we'll talk all about it. Definitely at some point, look them up and see what this is all about. Why don't you start with how you got started in your music world? How did that all come about?
Yeah, well, I feel like this isn't the most exciting story probably. Like I've been playing guitar since
You're a hell of a salesman.
No, okay. So no, yeah, like I've been playing guitars for like 20 years, and like a couple of years ago, for the first like 15 years, maybe I wasn't really into gear. Like I remember buying my first pedal in like 1999, maybe, but I didn't really like it, and for most of my 20s, I used to just play guitar straight into amp and not really bothering with gear, I just had my guitar and didn't really bother trying to find out like if I could maybe get a better guitar or get a better amp or anything like that. So,
do you remember what your first pedal was?
Yeah, it was the DOD Punkifier, and it was awful. Like, I remember back then I was trying to start a punk band, and I just got sold by the fact that it was written punk over it. And it was like,
yeah.
I was close. Just
press this button. You'll be it.
Yeah. My first was the DOD Overdrive.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Mine
I don't know if
DOD delay.
Oh, yeah, were they good?
It was very good. I actually just recently sold it for like really stupid cheap because it had that giant plug on it, and I was done.
Mine was an MXR Distortion Plus.
Oh,
classic.
Yeah, Sam. What about you? What was your first pedal?
I think it was one of ours, actually.
That's legit. That's legit.
I've never, been into pedals really until we started building them. ourselves.
Fair enough.
Yeah, got to start somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I'm not originally from Montreal. I'm from like a city a little bit like further east. And I moved here for professional reasons, and I started to I really focused on my career. Like I'm a web developer as my day job. So I really focused on this, and I really didn't touch a guitar for maybe a year. So after a while, I started playing again, and it's like I got reacquainted with it for a while, and then one thing led to another. I started buying pedals, and then I got like gas, the gear acquisition syndrome. I got it hard, so I started buying a lot of them, and it got like really expensive really quick. So I just like remember one night just browsing like Instagram and looking at other builders, and like you have this, I don't know if it's everyone, but I had this idea that electronics were built by nerdy engineers in lab coats or whatever. So anyways, after a while, I found out while looking at pictures that there were actually guitar players just like me. So I figured if these guys can do it, why not me?
Wait, stop right there. Stop right there. Everybody, so we've come to the part in the show almost inevitably when every single builder we have basically recognizes that they start out saying, wait a minute, I don't know how to do this. These guys are doing it. I'm like these guys. Maybe I can do it.
That's right.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of us probably have the same, like, I don't want to say epiphany, but maybe like we found out that it was something accessible to most people, if not everybody, pretty much the same way. So I just started pretty much like everyone else. I just Googled how to build guitar pedals, and it was like I opened the door on a whole other universe. I found out there was this very living and very not recent DIY and hobbyist scene going on. So I started reading forums, Reddit, and like other people, what they were doing, and just trying to orient myself into this new world. And after a while, I knew really early on that I wanted to make it like a company, not so much for like for profit or to make money, because I already was making a living from being a web developer. But
Trying to say that you're loaded, Seb?
not at all. But like back then I didn't have a band, and I hadn't had one for a couple of years. So I wanted to, for me, like building pedals was going to be like an outlet to maybe like participate in something creative through like more from the background. Get what I mean?
Yep.
So anyway, so I just started reading stuff, and like I found out about like cloning and the whole controversy of like selling circuits that already exist and all of these things. And so at one point I'm not an engineer at all. I don't have an engineering background or studies or anything, but I decided that I wanted to come up with my own circuits. So I wanted to go further, because to me, like the challenge of searching and experimenting and coming up with my own thing is pretty much the same thing as in my day job, where you need to think of solutions to come up with something. So yeah, I spent like the better part of the following, that was in late 2013 and 2014. I spent the better part of the following 2 years like reading books and watching videos and reading tutorials and just experimenting and buying like components and like pretty much same way everyone else learned and did it. So name Ground Control was like suggested to me by a friend, and like to me David Bowie was the bad guy in the Labyrinth movie. I never was really into his music. So I didn't get the reference until somebody else told me, but I still went with the name.
Right.
So in 2016, I think it was February, I had my first project, the Blood Oath, ready with a very, very, very bad looking enclosure. Like I made the artwork myself, and you can barely tell what it is. But yeah, so I came up with that, and I put out the website and just like quote unquote launched. It was anything big. I just like put the website online and started posting on Instagram under the Ground Control Audio moniker instead of my own personal account. And it just started from there.
Man, I never am not inspired when I hear somebody who's just like, I don't know, I just wanted to figure it out and I did it.
Yeah, but I feel like it's pretty standard.
It is, but it's one of those things that, you know, if you haven't done that, or if you've been thinking about doing that, it isn't one of those top of mind things. We just assume that everybody is like our friend Mike Trombley or something, who's like a digital engineering whiz. These are relatively simple machines, but having something that you are making your own version of is where it starts to get daunting. Because I think most of us have probably entertained the idea, or we have already picked up like a pedal kit. And it's one thing to follow directions. It's another thing to say, I want to take this into realms that this doesn't currently exist in, and put my own thumbprint on it. And that's the exciting part for me when I encounter new pedals, is that somebody took a chance, somebody thought about things, somebody put a lot of work into making sure it sounds good and that it sounds unique. And I think that's special. And there's so many special things out there. And then on top of that, you put some great graphics, and you know, it's fantastic. I remember doing my first pedal on a kit. There was a note on it that said, if you want to try a different, and I was like, anybody that knows me by now is like, I'm gonna mess with it. So I tried a couple different resistors in it. And to me, even though that particular build was my first one and it was super exciting, that was the super, super exciting part, right?
It is.
I'm putting my own twist on this.
It is, but I mean, regardless of how far you want to push it, like I know, like I just want to make sure that I'm sending the right message. Like, I mean, I do come up with like my own circuits, but then again, I mean, like you said, they're relatively simple machines, and like I could tell you of people that are way beyond anything that I could imagine doing. Like, sure. I mean, there's only so many ways that you can clip the signals and create distortion. There's only so many ways that you can like do reverb and delays and whatnot. And at some point, you like, I'm never going to pretend I've invented anything. I just enjoy like finding out how to do something by myself, instead of just like, oh, let's find this and this schematics and like do a PCB layout, like a circuit board layout for it, and just send it to printing and claim it as my own. Like, I don't want to do that, but I know people that do that, and that's fine. That's just their way to do it. And then if they enjoy it and they like to share what they do, that's as good as what I do. So
that is solid, man. I can dig it. When you came out with your first one, Blood Oath, what happened? You put it out there, and then what?
Nothing. No, like I remember putting it out, and like for the record, I would like to come clean and say that the first Blood Oath was not my own design. I got tired of waiting, and the first Blood Oath was a somewhat modified clone of the Timmy Overdrive. But in my defense, I only sold 2. So
honestly, the best policy.
You're all clean now.
And like we have this Facebook group with like maybe a dozen other builders, and Paul Cochran is on. Maybe I should tell him. I don't know. But
I'm sure he'd be flattered.
Yeah, I don't know. He's not really talkative. But anyways, so yeah, I did this, and like any other company in every other industry that is out, you need traction. You need your brand to, like, okay, I've been working most of my career in digital agencies, and that's very close to the marketing world. So I'm not going to say that I know things about marketing, but I'm a little bit familiar. So like, I know that rule number 1 is for anyone to buy your product, they need to recognize your brand. And most people won't buy something on like the first time they see something, they need to become familiar with something.
Right.
So before selling anything, I needed to have like the company name like seen
Yep.
places. So I just started posting on Instagram over and over again. Then I started like reaching out to demo guys on YouTube and like just figuring out how this whole thing worked. So I had Eric from Living Room Gear Demos in Norway do my first demo of the Blood Oath. And I remember when this came out, like, and he had like somewhat of a sizable viewership, and I was so excited just looking at the view count on YouTube would climb up. Like, and for the first time in my life, I had done something and I could see like that many people be aware of it.
Right.
So that was really exciting. And like, I remember one time I was recovering from eye surgery. Like, I was just laying there on the couch, just doing nothing. And I remember like my phone vibrating in my pocket, like an email just came in, and it was my first sale. Like, I think I remember the guy's name. Oh wait, no, I don't. But he was from, I thought I did. A guy was from Germany, and he had just bought it like from watching the demo, and I got so excited. I remember texting anyone, "Hey, I made my first sale." So that's pretty much what happened. And I sold another one to a coworker, and then nothing. So after a little while,
Nothing.
After a little while, I met Sam. Sam was a coworker of my roommate back then. So we met and we started working together. And like, because he was obviously so much better at graphic design than I was. So, and Summer NAMM was also coming in a couple months. So I had already been working on two other designs, like the Locust, which was this really raw and aggressive and abrasive distortion that I wanted to release, and the Amaterasu, which I wanted to cover the gain spectrum first because, well, they're pretty much the easiest things to do, to build, and to design as you learn these things.
Right.
Know?
Well, I think that's a good idea. I mean, you laid down a really good foundation of gain.
Yeah, but there's also like I want to say danger of getting like this sort of stigma about being like a company that only releases drive pedals, because there's this.
Yeah, I know where you're going with that, and I would like to pre-defend you.
Thank you.
If you don't mind.
Not at all.
The whole thing about, pedals is like, yeah, occasionally somebody will come up with something completely brand new. There's guys that focus on, super wacky pedals. There's ones that focus on incredibly complex pedals. There's ones that do like insanely efficient uses of the pedal. And there's room for all of that, as long as you can put whatever degree of your own kind of DNA into that pedal. Those of us who like pedals, which I can safely say is most of our audience, we want variety. Whether it's a guitar, whether it's an amp, whether it's a pedal, it's like we're constantly searching, wanting what the next thing is, and we can have multiples of all these things. That's part of the fun, part of the collectability of it, and part of the thing saying, you know what, I don't want this particular pedal that maybe everybody else has. I want the one that's just kind of a little bit different, and that's what my signature sound is going to be. So if you want to do it, and make sure you got your own little bit of DNA in there, and you're fine. I think anybody that's poo-pooing like, oh, you guys only build drive pedals, is like, man, screw that.
I completely agree with you. I mean, it's just that there's like the quest for tone is infinite. Like, you can change up your board and your pedals like every week, and you'll never get tired of it. And there are so many choices right now, and I think we're in basically a golden age of effects. Like, there's so many of them, and so many great pedals also. But yeah, like there's this, people get to associate, I think, like, it's my own personal theory, but I think people associate like familiarity with maybe being easy to design. Like, oh, there are so many overdrives, so they're got to be easy to come up with. But I feel like they're probably the hardest designs to come up with. Like, they have drive pedals are, as far as feel, are the kind of circuits that you have like the most flexibility with. Like, if you want to come up with like a delay pedals, like, you have to basically choose like a delay solution that's already in there, like whether it's this like particular hardware or this particular hardware. Like, there are basically like ready-made delay chips that you integrate into your circuits, and that's basically how you do it. Like, there's only like a few people that are going to go as far so far as to write their own digital like delays or reverbs or whatever effect you want to think of. So at
That's
some
where
point,
you're getting into like Chase Bliss and Trombley and Red House and stuff like that.
yeah, that's a whole other level. I'm not saying I don't want to go there, but that's maybe in a couple of years. I'm not there yet.
I don't think that's exact. That's the measure of good or success either. It's just different. That's all. In my opinion. Now everybody else is welcome to theirs. Let's talk about the pedals we have. Let's talk about the pedals we have in front of us. We have the Blood Oath, and you started to talk a little bit about that, and people are probably familiar with this pedal by now. This has got two. Was it the ravens or crows? What are those?
Oh, you gotta ask Sam, but I think they're crows. I think we have this little Viking theme going on. Sam, if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, they're ravens.
Hi.
Sorry.
They're magpies. Okay, so tell us. Yeah, so well, Sam, since we have you on the line right now, why don't you tell us about how you came up with the idea for the what was the thing behind the graphics here?
Actually, it was pretty easy. The name Blood Oath. There's only one thing that came to mind. It was Vikings, and so from there,
that's funny. That was like such a direct connection for you, and we were all like, "Where does what Blood Oath Ravens what
Vikings?
Yeah,
yeah." Well, there was a first iteration of it with a Viking horn, which was scrapped kind of immediately. I think we sold a few of those, but then I did this redesign, and it was kind of based off that as well, from like Odin's Ravens. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so we have some semblance of why that is called Blood Oath now. Everybody can sleep at night now. So we've all been wondering.
The first version was pretty random. I just had to come up with a name, and it just came out. And like, some people told me that the name Blood Oath was sounding really too violent, and they were expecting like a pedal for doing metal or hardcore.
Doom.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I thought that too when I first thought it. I was like, "Geez, Blood Oath."
And also, like, the first art redesign also came up with an actual hardware redesign. Like I said earlier, the first version that we only sold two of was a Timmy clone, and like for a couple months I was let's talk about Florian again. For a couple months I was talking with him about maybe doing a side project of doing different pedals with him designing the enclosures and stuff, and it didn't really amount to anything. But while we were discussing this, I came up with an overdrive with like a separate pre-gain channel. And we just shelved this and didn't talk about it for months. And like one time he was home for another like totally unrelated thing, and we were talking about this and about the fact that I was redesigning, but we were redesigning the art on the Blood. And he said, "You should just release that one thing that we were supposed to do." And I had completely forgotten about it, so I just took it out of wherever I let it. I put it, and then I tried it again. It was like, hey, yeah, it sounds good. It sounds like similar. It's in the same vein, if you want. And then I just took it out, and we released that instead. So that was version 2.
So this one has 2 buttons on it. Most of your others look like they have one. So
These are foot switches, Tony.
buttons.
Not buttons.
I like to call them buttons.
Yeah, the left one, and there's actually like now it's like version 2.1. Like there's the LED has 2 colors. It's
Yes.
red and yellow.
Yeah.
So like the left foot switch is to engage like a separate preamp. So like on the bypass switch, you engage like the main gain stage, which has its own clipping diodes to create distortion. And like, but the gain on that stage is pretty lowish. So like if you have like lead parts or you want something in your songs with a little bit more grit, you can engage the separate preamp and like it helps you push it. It's basically like using like a boost pedal in front of an overdrive.
Gotcha.
So the left foot switch is what it controls the pre sector or the knob that says pre. Is that right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it also
It's
also turns the LED red.
Yeah.
I think it's yellow.
Oh,
Yellow.
That's the part that confused me. Because when it's on, it's red. And usually like red is more.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Or like blood.
That explains,
honestly.
because I was thinking it was working in opposite, but
Yeah.
I was working in opposite.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, it's just a matter of taking the LED and putting it on like the other way, like the other side. So
Don't
I can
do that on
I
account of
can
us.
I can mod yours if you want.
Well, I'd like it green and red.
So this is a really solid sounding
Yeah.
overdrive. I mean, there's a reason that this is done as well as it has for as long as it has. And you got great knobs on. You kind of went with all the same knobs on all the pedals, and these are like
You notice there's 2 set
good
screws
ones.
per knob.
I know
That is class.
that is yeah. They
Yeah,
don't-
we changed them only recently because we used to use different knobs that were a little bit bigger. Mm-hmm. We figured we would maybe change it up a bit.
I think it looks better because
love the smaller one.
it lets the graphics show.
Did you
a
do
bit
that
more.
based on the Serpens release?
Not really. I mean, yeah, it came up at about like the same time,
Same time.
but no, it was just like a design change that we picked up
Well,
on.
that's a killer pedal. That's a great, if you're looking for just a really solid drive that has maybe just a little something different or extra, the Blood Oath is a great place to start. What's next? Let's see here. We got, let's go in order, in chronologic order. How about that? Pull up the Locust, fellas.
Ooh,
Tell us
here it
about the
is.
Locust.
The mint green color.
Yeah, this one is the one that I think that it's the second most work I put in a design. Like the circuit that's inside had like 2 completely different versions before that. And like I remember that it's the first circuit design that I tried doing like from really scratch. Like I did the math and I did like breadboard experimentation and I went on forums and posted the circuit and tried to, hey, if you guys like people more experimented have like maybe tips or suggestions or recommendations to make it better. So so I had people tell me like, hey, this is wrong, that's not good, that could be better. So I decided to just go back to the drawing board like twice. So that took about a year to come up with that version.
Well,
And
we just talked about this with Dr. No, and the notion that you are able to say, I've put in this much work, but it's still not right yet, and then kind of keep scrapping it and keep breaking it and pushing it and poking it till it's right. It takes a lot of discipline, and I think that says a lot about the effort that you put into your work.
yeah, that's another thing. Like when you start designing a pedal, like I know some people will say that they have like this exact idea of what they want, but personally I don't. Like I have this general idea. Like for the Locust, I wanted something that was really, really, really aggressive, but really, really dirty and violent and raw. Like I had feelings. I had something.
Sounds like Tony's dating.
Nothing more than feelings.
Okay, that might not have been the best wording, but yeah, I knew what I wanted, but not from an objective way. I couldn't describe exactly.
Angst.
You'll know when you hear it. You'll know when you see it. I can get down with that.
Yeah, totally.
So tell us about this pedal.
It's extremely high gain, and you have these pedals made like for metal, the good old metal zone. They sound like really modern, really tight, and really like
the distortion is like too tight.
Yeah,
it's very contained.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for, contained. And this one is totally the opposite. It's loose. It's like there's a gain knob, like you can turn it down, but you can't really turn it down so much that it's actually low gain. So it's really, really explosive right from the get-go. And so there's this, and like there's the tone knob, which works with depth switch. So you basically have two modes if you want. One of them cuts more into the frequencies that than when it's not active. And so you on one side you get something that's really incisive, really cuts through and has a lot of high frequencies in it. I don't like to call it a fuzz, because to me fuzz pedals are really, like Velcro-y.
Yeah.
And that's not exactly what it does, but you can, depending on the rest of your setup, you can have that sound, but that's not what I was going for.
Right.
And then because of that, because I'm dropping so much frequencies, filtering so much of them, like you have a little bit of a volume drop. And then if you take the depth knob all the way to the right, well, you get less of these frequencies drop. So you get a little bit of a volume back.
I see.
And so I think that in the end, what I came up with was something that could be useful in like doom or sludge or stoner bands more than like these chuggy or genty hardcore bands.
Yes, that works.
Yes.
Yes, all the things you said. Well, I'm a sucker for a little switch on a pedal. So
Yeah, but
Not to
I
mention
know
the giant locust.
yes,
well, that was all Sam's though, because I know like the name I came with it just because of like the sound that you can imagine if you think of a swarm of locusts.
Oh yeah, totally.
I just told Sam that, and he went along with it.
with this one, do you typically like to put this, maybe, does it work well with the Blood Oath, or do you kind of typically use it one or the other?
Well, from a salesman's standpoint, I will say yes, but the truth is that there's so much gain into it that regardless of what you put before it, pushing it further won't really do any. Well, of course, it's going to change how it sounds, but not so much it's going to make like an actual useful difference. Like, of course, you're going to hear it distort even more, but at some point you have so much gain. I won't say it becomes unusable, but it's less usable maybe.
It's interesting what you're describing to me. When I've tried to explain distortion, and I'm not an engineer, so I just have to explain it the way I hear it. But you brought up a good point about like typical, like maybe a metal distortion or something, where it's very, to me, I've always explained it as very, like the waves are very tight and extremely uniform. And this feels like almost either a loose wave distortion or a very asymmetric distortion.
It's really all about frequency shaping. Like gain is gain, and like harmonics are harmonics. Like the way you create clipping in a circuit, I'm not going to get into details because it's going to get really boring really fast. But like the way you create clipping and gain, it's just a signal being like amplified and getting louder and louder. So the way what you hear in the end is just like the way you shape these frequencies, or you tame some of them, or you cut into some of them, or amplify others. It's all that matters, like in drive pedals.
Well, you captured something pretty unique here. This is one that is a lot of fun to play around with, to find the exact. To me, this was it wasn't necessarily sweep all the knobs and every place sounded amazing with my particular setup. I played with it and kind of got like, oh wait, right there, and I like that.
I'll say straight out, it's not for everybody unless you play real loud and you play real aggressive music.
Right.
Like if you just play in your bedroom, like it's gonna sound good, but never as good as in a real setup.
Yeah, I get that. Next, the famed Amaterasu.
I feel like we might have to simplify the name. It's actually one of our most popular, and it's one of our most simple. Like I said earlier, I wanted to cover the gain spectrum before moving on to like other things. And at that point, we had the Blood Oath, which was low, mid gain overdrive, and then the Locust, which was a very high gain distortion pedal. So I wanted to have just this very easy to use preamp / boost pedal to just help you make your signal louder, just to push whatever that came after into breakup, like whether it was your amplifier or other drive pedals.
Yeah, this one was actually my favorite of the bunch, because it really reminded me of my beloved EP booster, except this one is actually a step better with the bright switch, because the EP booster it does essentially the same thing. It kind of just gives it that little bit of grit.
Yep.
But this I found playing with the bright switch was kind of even more fun.
Yeah, and Tony plays a little more, I guess, cleaner, straightforward.
Yeah. No fuzz.
Yeah, no fuzz, but likes the power.
I like the sound.
Yeah,
I just don't like it all clipped.
The original idea for the tone switch, because people have told me that why didn't you just go with a knob, like that you could set the amount of treble that you want. Mm-hmm. I wanted to have it just for simplicity, something that you would set on your favorite setting and just leave it there.
Yeah.
And the idea was to just be able to cut if you had like a lot of trebly content on maybe sibilance. I don't know if that's the right word, but like I know that people playing Telecasters with like other drive pedals, sometimes it's really like, especially with Fender amps, it's really trebly. So maybe you want to cut back on that.
Bright, yeah.
But the catch is, I'm going to do a little reveal today.
Excellent.
Yeah, because we've been teasing.
Pull back the kimono, if you will.
We've been
what
teasing.
Are you wearing under your kimono?
Well, wait a minute. Wait. Let's get through the pedals here first, and then do your reveal.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So your Amaterasu. No, I'm going to say this right. Amaterasu.
Nice.
Amaterasu. Okay. So I'm glad that you didn't put a tone knob on here, because for whatever reason, I think 2 knob pedals. For what I would rather have 1 knob and a switch. I know that it's a purely mechanical, weird sort of desire. 2 knobs, no desire. 1 knob and a switch, total desire.
I don't know why.
Really,
about 1 knob and 2 switches.
No, don't go there. So, anyways, yeah, this is. I think a lot of people have really gone for this because it just does make your sound good.
Yeah,
more good.
More gooder.
More gooder. I think that has been coined on. I think the our friends at the Guitar Nerds.
Yeah.
And I love the art on this one too.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, and it killed me that they had that on while I was waiting to get you on. Like, I was like, dang it. That's okay. Late breaking news. We got this one. Ha ha. So yeah, tell us about the artwork on this.
Damn, that's you.
Again, Seb does all the legwork, so it's actually super easy for me. He gives me the name, and
does the name have any meaning?
Yeah, it's the sun goddess.
Ah.
Oh yeah.
Like you do that.
Oh yeah.
I like the
I mean,
sun goddess.
The old sun goddess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had like this. Well, I won't say fascination, but I have this. I like traditional Japanese culture. I've done martial arts for a lot of my younger years, so it was just something that I wanted to do.
Dig it.
It's
So you have
dude,
you have a special respect for it. That's what you're
I think you can say that.
Yeah. Yeah. We it's funny. We have a lot in common. I'm really quite into feudal Japan myself. So,
You want to be friends?
yeah, we should nerd out.
You could play Dungeons and Dragons together.
Anyways, yeah, much to talk about later. So, okay, let's get to the latest and greatest one that you have. The super sexy. I mean, honestly, this is one of the sharpest looking pedals out there for sure.
It's got gold on it.
The Serpens. This one, everybody out there who is playing along will have seen this on the Instagram more than likely. And it's got the space guy with the snakes coming out of his face.
I hate
told
when
Sam
that
that-
happens.
I told Sam that I wanted it to look like either a nightmare or an acid trip.
Yes.
Or both.
Mission accomplished.
Like at first, what I had in mind was like the constellation called Serpent. So I said, "Oh, you could have like this dude fighting a snake," but then he came up with that, and I was like, "Dude, we're keeping that."
Yeah.
Or it could be Medusa's son became an astronaut.
That's true.
Something like that. So
Women
we got,
can be astronauts too.
That's right.
Could be Medusa's daughter.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways, wow. So tell us about this awesome pedal before these two jugheads take this any further.
Okay, so I felt like after covering the gain spectrum, like a compressor would be like the next logical step. But little did I know that it would be that complicated to come up with. Like, there are so many different types of compressor that you could go for. Like, you can go with I went too much into technical details, but you can get into optical or TA voltage control amplifiers. You can get into like so many different types of compressors. So I had to pick, and I didn't really have any way to make a choice. So I just started experimenting. So I tried working with first I tried working with existing designs just to try to figure out how compression worked and stuff like that. So at some point, I just felt like optical was more fun because there's this. I don't know. It just felt more fun and less. It feels more organic to me. Like, somebody just opened up the beer.
That was me.
So I feel like optical as I want to say non-linearity, but it's also a technical term, but I don't want to misuse it. But yeah, I feel like the way optical circuitry works, there's this not randomness, or it's more organic. So anyhow, I started just working on one iteration, then another, and it was really, really, really hard to make it work. Like at some point, I almost gave up, and I had John from Electronic Audio Experiment. That guy is, by the way, he says hi.
Yeah, he's a maniac.
Yeah,
with
he is.
pedals.
But dude is so helpful, and he's always down to give you a hand when you need it. So I remember like one night we were chatting, and I was showing him like what I was doing and showing him part of my schematics and stuff. And he just helped me figure out things that I needed to know to make it all work. So yeah, after a while, it took, I think a little bit over a year to come up with the final version and
I
make
remember you telling me that you were working on this thing, and I said,
Yeah.
"Awesome."
Yeah, and that's how long it took.
Here we are.
So yeah, finally, like last December was actually when we were supposed to do this thing, and I released it. So yeah, so It's what it is. It's an optical compressor, It has like, contrary to a lot of compressors, where you only have like one like compression knob. Like this one, the compression is set with two different controls. Like on the one hand, you have like the main part where your guitar signal goes through, where you can set the gain, and the higher it goes, the more room it has to actually limit or to compress. And then there's what we call the side chain, like the actual part of the circuit that makes that tries to detect how loud you're playing. And then totally forgot where I was going with that. But yeah.
Well,
Wow.
aside from all the cool things that you just described that this does, it looks awesome too. And the gold knobs are killer. So,
yeah.
I think, compression pedals are still one of those things that's a bit of a black art to even, I mean, we've talked about compression pedals many, many times, and I still,
Until
totally
I think
grasped
you're in
the
a
guy.
live situation or even a studio situation.
I know my bass player needs one, that's for sure. Sheesh.
Yeah. A limiter for the bass player.
I've been told by many people that if you play out live, a compression pedal is pretty important to have.
Well,
It is.
Well, go ahead. We'll let
But it also depends. Like a lot of pedals, like people in the audience won't even be able to tell that you're using.
Yeah.
Like, and compression is special, like for guitar players, in the sense that, like if you ask a studio engineer, they're gonna tell you that you shouldn't really be able to tell that there's compression on.
Right,
like
right.
the goal of compression is to control dynamics, so that if you play like a part that's quieter, and then after that you start playing and you start strumming a little bit harder, that there's not going to be like this huge change in volume. So
Right.
that's the job of a compressor. Then you have like pedal consumers. Like a lot of people, when you spend money on something, you want to know that it's useful. You want to know what it does.
Yeah.
You want to feel it. And as guitar players, you want to hear it. So like, guitar players talk a lot about, like the squish thing with
Yeah.
compressors, and like studio engineers would tell you that when you start hearing this thing that we call squish, that you're putting in too much
far.
compression.
Right.
Yeah. But there's this like duality where guitar players want this squish thing, but that's not really what the compressor is meant for.
Tell them that's what the LED is for.
Yeah.
The LED,
When it's on, it's on.
when it's on, it's on.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, you got a fine range of pedals so far. And I say so far because you want to tell us about something new?
Oh, that's right. Well, we're definitely not stopping there. Well, yeah, like I was going to say earlier, we've been teasing on Instagram for the last couple of weeks about this new pedal coming out called the Tsukuyomi. And I remember like last December, I was supposed to do the Serpent's Reveal on your show, and I didn't. So we're going to do that now. So yeah, we've been somewhat secretive about it. So basically, the Amaterasu that we were talking about earlier is getting version 2. And this, like the version 1 was the tone switch was a high cut. So it removed a little bit of the higher frequencies. But I felt like it could go a little bit further. So we still have that thing where we cut a little bit of the higher frequencies, but we actually added another treble boost. Like I'm going to go a little bit of technical info, but we add more gain at the 3.3 kilohertz frequencies. Just had a little bit more of presence. So the version 2 of the Amaterasu would be best used with a darker setup, maybe like with humbuckers and stuff like that. Cool. And parallel to that, we're also releasing the Tsukuyomi, which is, as you might have guessed, because of the similarities of in design and name and theme, is not actually a new pedal, but it's a variant of the Amaterasu. But instead of the treble boost, it's getting a mid boost centered at about 900 hertz.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So that one will be better for maybe treblier setup if you want to give a little bit more body or presence to it.
Nice. And that also looks killer too.
And when will there be a tone knob on this?
No. When are you releasing this?
We're waiting for enclosures right now because we don't do that in-house yet. So technically, this should be sometime next month in August.
Hey,
August, okay.
speaking of enclosures, Todd and I were talking about this a little bit. Is it a silk screen process, or is it
Using a UV printer, and I don't want to say too much because like that's not my department. I don't know a lot about printing stuff, but I know that it's like the color is powder coating, like for the actual box, and the printing is made with a UV printer. I don't know the process. I have no idea, but I know that it looks good.
Yeah, it looks great.
All that matters.
Killer, man. Good work, you guys.
Yay!
Okay, well, hey, I just appreciate you guys so much coming on and talking and telling us about your pedals and how you got here and your creative process. It is always exciting to hear that. And informative. Make sure everybody checks out the Ground Control audio page and Instagram and gets some stuff. We have a little segment called
Would You Rather?
All right. Wrap it up, son.
Okay. This week's Would You Rather. So, you're driving down the road in your Pinto. Okay.
A Ford Pinto.
A Ford Pinto.
Somehow you have one that made it.
Yep. A 70s Ford Pinto.
Which are famous for catching on fire.
That's right.
Uh-oh. I smell a scenario.
That's correct. And the scenario is your Princeton Reverb is in the back and the darn thing catches fire and you have the gumption to get that thing out of that car because you care more about the amp than the stupid car. So you grab the amp and
amp's worth more than the car.
That's right. So you're like, okay, I got to take it to my guy down at the shop
The
to get it
Tolex
fixed.
got burned off.
The Tolex guy is going to do my amp for me.
Right? The Tolex guy.
So the Tolex guy down at the thing.
What's his name? Mike the Tolex guy?
His name is Thule
Sticky.
Tolex.
Sticky.
Okay,
Thule
anyways.
Tolex.
Oh my gosh.
But he's out of stock. He only has two things. In
What
his
does
shop.
he have, Jared?
He's got either my personal favorite.
You're giving this away already.
See, you gave it
So
away.
mix it up. Wait,
Mix
you're
it up.
shuffling your cards. Okay, now which one is it?
Okay.
By the way, guys, we're all dead.
Yeah.
Caught fire, we're all dead.
We're ghosts, but
Yeah.
we're still going to,
Yes.
re-Tolex our amp.
Yes.
Either
Posthumously.
snake skin Tolex
Ooh.
or purple sparkle Tolex.
That's all that's left?
That's all that's left in the
Oh,
guy's
man.
shop.
Those are
Wow.
some terrible choices.
That's
or
right.
awesome
Mix.
choices. Tony, what are you going to pick?
I'm going with the snake.
Okay.
Is it real snakeskin?
No.
No.
Oh, I wish it was.
And is this the white, the pure white kind of or is this
Anaconda.
White and
Okay.
brown, like a rattler.
White and brown. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, white and low, like
Ooh,
a rattler.
like a rattler.
Okay. Let's
Or a
see.
rattler.
Or a rattler. Let's go for Sam. What are you taking?
Definitely the snake skin. Gotta go for that hair metal.
Awesome. Let's see, Jared.
Purple sparkle, baby.
Yeah, we figured.
Yep.
I got a guitar in the works that's got literally has purple sparkle on it.
Yeah, we saw it.
Yep.
I tried to blink,
You knew I
but
was going to
couldn't.
choose that.
I know. Seb, what are you taking?
I don't go with the creative decisions here, so I'll go with Sam and go with Snake.
What about you, Todd? What will you take, Todd?
My gut instinct is to say snakeskin, but I think I'm gonna have to go purple sparkle on this one.
Wow.
I know.
Who'd have
I
thunk
know,
it?
right?
Different.
My man.
Yeah. Well, okay, so we got a couple things to take care of real quick. First of all, I want to find out where can people get your stuff? Oh, those at Ground Control.
Well, this year we've started doing working with our first retailers. Like if you live in the UK, like our pedals are going to be at James Home of Tone very soon. and we're also in Japan with Lab International. And apart from that, you can get them like straight from our website, or like we have this e-commerce thing where you just pick, like you can check out the demos on the product pages and just buy them online. We're also on Reverb, and if you're not sure, you can just, like, I take care of the Instagram account. You can just come on and just drop me a private message and ask your questions. I love talking about this, and sometimes I go on and you have to stop me. But yeah, like, and yeah, I'll be happy to answer your questions and help you with that.
Sounds good. I also want to point out that not only do you have your pedals on sale on your website, but you also have posters of your artwork. That is cool. I wish more pedal makers did that.
Totally, yeah.
Super, super cool, especially the Serpents one. I printed on gray, which looks amazing.
We do have posters, and we have, like, not a lot, but some left. But when they're out, we're going to make some, and I have yet to hang out mine.
Perfect. Tony, where can people find you?
Well, let's say you're looking for a custom pickguard for your guitar. If I were you, I'd go over to pickguardian.com.
Perfect.
That would be a great place to go.
That'll get it done.
And let's just suppose you wanted to see some of the things that this guy Tony at Pickguardian's working on.
Instagram.
You might go to Instagram or Facebook or any of the social media.
All the things.
But it's great fun.
MySpace.
Excellent. Jared, where are you going?
Well, BrandonWoundPickups.com.
Yep.
We do boutique pickups, built your way, or we do vintage style, and we also do rewinds, and we have a fast turnaround at a reasonable price.
Perfect. And they sound amazing.
Thank you. Find me on Instagram too.
Yep. BrandonWoundPickups.com.
That's right.
And for me, you can just drop me a line at Todd at theguitarknobs.com or catch me on Instagram. Tony, I think you got a couple things to point out.
At this point in our program, we would like to thank our executive producers.
That's right.
Excellent.
And you might be asking yourself, how do I become an executive producer
all the time
for such a phenomenal podcast as The Guitar Knobs? Right. Answer is quite simple. Simply go to patreon.com/The Guitar Knobs and find out. We have various levels. At each level, you get something special for being part of the Guitar Knob family on Patreon.
Like a button.
But I believe there is the creme de la creme level, which would be the executive producer. And in addition to all the great prizes that you get, there's one more thing that you get. And Jared, what would that one thing be?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
So that's what I'm going to do right now.
Do it.
I'm doing it right now. Tom Barazin, Martin Cliff, David Wolfson, Matt Brammer, Carlos Mancha, Pete Marshall, Robin Smith, John Daly, Oliver Gonzalez, Sean Serpent, Chris Kearney, John Anglin, Robert Marfleet, Darren Gregory, Gary Goodman, and Son Beckett, Zach J. Wright, Doug Christ, Michael Van Zant, Earl Flowers, and Doug Gann. Thank you all so much for being part of the Guitar Knobs Patreon family.
We love you.
Thank you so much.
We couldn't do it without you. No,
you.
in all seriousness, thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, huge amount of all the thankses. Okay, hey everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this show, the Guitar Knobs podcast. It means a load to us that you are listening out there and digging guitar stuff. Thank you to Ground Control Audio for being awesome guests. We had a blast.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so great to finally get to talk to you. And hey, everybody, have a great guitar weekend. Subscribe!
Yeah.
Well, that's it for these knobs.
That was a mess.
You have to get the Seb on.
Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com.
Did we have Seb talk?
For all of our past episodes.
Did I miss that?
Yes. Or on the Floor blog and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.